Ariane 5 has a fantastic track record.
Yeah, of course. Well, in 27 years of operation, 239 satellites into orbit, it constantly improved its performance. Can I start a little quiz with you?
Oh dear.
What was the fastest Ariane 5?
I don't know, but I have a feeling you're going to tell me.
That was for the Mercury mission Bepi-Colombo. On October 2018, the rocket reached almost 11 kilometers per second.
Fantastic. 11 kilometers per second. That's a phenomenal speed. Coming up now on the first main event, H2-Sat separation. That's what it looks like up there.
Séparation Heinrich-Hertz-Satellite confirmée.
And we have separation of Heinrich-Hertz-Satellite. Our first satellite has starting its new life in space. It needs to climb to 36,000 kilometers. And obviously a whole load of things have to happen in the meantime. But we still have our second passenger inside the cylinder. Can't see it right now, can we?
Yeah, very good news, of course, but the mission is definitely not over. So the teams are extremely focused because we have another passengers to deliver into space. Next step is the separation of the black structure, the dual long structure Silda, which will reveal the lower passenger, Syracuse 4B. So the satellite will meet space for the first time in a couple of minutes. It needs to be released also in a very specific way. So in this case, the upper stage will stop spinning because Syracuse 4B needs to be separated in a stabilized way. And also the upper stage will rotate in order to separate the satellite in the direction of the sun, this time, with the thrusters directly pointed at our star.
Coming up now on the next part, the important phase of removing the cylinder so that we can reveal Syracuse 4B inside. That clever piece of kit, the attachment kit, which allows us to attach the satellite in the upper position and protect the satellite in the lower position.
It should happen in any seconds.
Moving very carefully and very, very slowly away.
Séparation Silda confirmée.
And we have confirmation there that the cylinder has now been removed.
Another very good news.
And moving away in a very carefully planned set of maneuvers.
Début de la manœuvre d'orientation au profit de Syracuse 4B.
And he's announced the beginning of the orientation maneuvers for Syracuse 4B.
So you actually see the upper stage rotating in order to separate the satellite in a very specific direction with respect to the sun. I can also mention that the two satellites are separated with a safety distance in order to make sure that they will not collide with each other, because they are following the same trajectory towards the geostationary orbit, and in this case it's dozens of kilometers that separate the two satellites, thanks to the orientation maneuvers that are being performed right now by the upper stage.
The teams at the Malindi tracking station keeping their watchful eye now on all these operations and sending back the data here to the CVI teams, who then provide that to the range operations manager, Raymond Boyce, to announce. This is the scheduled time for separation.
Séparation Syracuse 4B confirmée.
And we have separation of Syracuse 4B. That's great news. Ariane 5 has delivered her second passenger, bang on target, over the Indian Ocean. Congratulations to all the Syracuse 4B teams and to the H2-Sat teams. Best wishes to all the teams now on the ground in the two control rooms, taking over your new satellites and going through the early phases of the operations. Happy faces all around here.
Congratulations to all the teams, of course. We'll see a funny passenger here in the control room.
With the requisite sunglasses.
What emotions.
It's a very emotional time because Ariane 5 has, of course, performed flawlessly and beautifully. And the team's now very, very happy. Of course, the work is done for some, but for others, it's just beginning.
Yes, because the satellites need to rejoin their final operational orbit. But people often ask me why a launch can generate such strong emotions. But honestly, when you see on the launch pad this huge product of human genius sitting there on the ground and thinking that in 30 minutes, it's reaching the outer space. Well, when we see this, we understand, and I hope, we feel it, right? It's very hard to describe with words, but and you can see also all the teams that they've known each other for years because they've been working together for years. It's very special.
It's a family. It's a family, the space family. The level of expertise is phenomenal. And here, very happy faces. We're looking at some extremely happy faces for the last ever Ariane 5 launch. Waiting now for Stéphane Israel to come back to the floor.
So we see the teams from the satellites, from Arianespace. It's a very special, like I said, customer service provider relationship. It's absolutely unique, and like you said, this is the space community, is a family, and when you enter it, you stay there for a long time.
De la télémesure par le satellite Heinrich-Hertz.
And he's just announced that we have had the signal from Heinrich-Hertz-Satellite. So Heinrich-Hertz, I believe I'm right in saying, has now called home.
So the team, there is like another team acquiring the satellite and performing all the maneuvers in order to get it into the right orbit, the right position. The journey is definitely just the beginning because we released the satellites at 1,300 kilometers of altitude. They need to go 36,000 kilometers away from here. So obviously, the journey is only beginning for the satellite.
And of course, they've got a lot of operations to go through. It's often known as LEOPS, the launch and early operations phase, when the teams on the ground take their satellites through all the various different things that have to happen. Obviously, they've got to put out their solar wings, deploy their panels to get some electricity from the sun, and a whole set of operations. And it sometimes takes days for those things to happen.